Hello and welcome to another review of Drones Visual. Today I have over here Eachine's newest creation, a mini quadcopter with a tough look that reminds me of Venom, the villain from the Spider-Man comic. The looks of the H20 are appealing indeed, but we'll see whether it can fly as good as it looks. The sample I have over here comes with a set of spare props, a USB charger and a screwdriver, but because this is not the final version I have no instructions manual or beautiful box, but you'll certainly get those as soon as the H20 becomes available. For those interested, the expected price for this beauty is $25.99. Let's now take a close look at the features of the H20. As you can see, a feature that distinguishes the Eachine H20 from many other quads, besides the looks of course, is the fact that the motors are facing downwards. Although this quad is capable of flying, of doing inverted flying, so you will also be able to fly with the motors facing up. The props of the Eachine H20 seem rather thin. I would have liked these props to be thicker, considering that this quad feels rather heavy, so I'm a bit worried that they might not survive crashes. The prop guards or protectors in the Eachine H20 are quite original, but functionally they are not superior to the standard guards that you can find in the Eachine H8 S3D Mini. I feel that the props are still a little bit too exposed, and another structural issue with these protectors is that they become too thin right in the part that joins the upper plate of the quad, and this will create a lot of stress in that area. Let me show you what I mean. You can see now here in the red square the area of structural stress. That I hope can be improved in future models. The motors powering this little quad seem well protected by a plastic capsule formed by the lower plastic plate of the quadcopter, so I think they should not be easily displaced in case of a collision, although I would have exposed a little bit less the shaft by reinforcing the base of the props a bit. Right beside each motor we have LED lights. Two are red and two are blue for better orientation while flying in the dark. There seem to be 9 screws in total securing both plastic plates that make the quadcopter. 2 on each arm, which make 8, and then there's one here in the front section of the quad that you can see over here. Now we can see the quad from above, and what I'm liking the most so far about the Eachine H20 is the awesome looks, really aggressive, speedy look. I mean, take a good look at it. It's kinda like the Lamborghini of the mini quadcopters. The looks are really rocking, and it might be the selling point of this quadcopter. Here on the rear we have a mini door that looks that locks the battery compartment. The mini door housing the cables and the battery is a bit too weak. I mean, the hinge that fixes the door to the body can easily break, so I'm afraid that it won't last too long in place. To open the little door and access the battery, carefully press the clip down and push firmly until it opens. Here we go. Now it's open. Treat this little door gently. As I was mentioning before, the hinge holding it is very delicate. To show you better the battery connectors, I removed the mini door. As you can see, the connector of the 400 mAh battery is standard for these mini quads, and you can use a USB charger to charge the battery. It should take about 45 to 50 minutes to fully charge the battery. As I mentioned before, the Eachine H20 is capable of inverted flying. This means that by pressing a button in the transmitter, it will cause the quad to do a 180-degree flip and start flying with the motors facing up, and if you press the button again, well, it will just return to the original configuration and fly with the motors facing down. Talking about the transmitter, let's take a look at it. Here we have the transmitter. This is a Mod 2 transmitter, so we have the throttle and the yaw control and the left stick. Then the right stick can control the pitch and the roll of the quad. If we move to the left to take a look at the buttons, we can see here on the left side these seem to be the trim buttons, and then if we move a little bit to the right, this button here might be the speed modes or something like that. Not sure if this quad has headless mode though. In the center we have the power switch. Slide it up to turn the quad on, and then slide it down to turn it off. Then there are a couple of buttons right above. They could you know, do 360-degree flips? We'll find out later, as I don't have the instructions manual right now. Then we have trims here on the side. And let's take a look now at the batteries. These are 4 AAA batteries that power the transmitter, and they're not included, so have that in mind, keep that in mind, I'm sorry. Well, now it's time to take the Eachine E20 for a test flight. Today the weather is good, just a mild breeze, so I think it should be no problem to test this little fellow outside. We'll start flying in the default mode. Let's see how things go. Okay, here we go. Let's do it. Now here we are, and I'm trying to keep it stable right in front of the camera, but there is a mild breeze that keeps pushing a little bit to the side and backwards. So instead of trying to keep it in the same place for too long, let's push it forward and see how it performs. Okay, here we go. That's decent. The flying speed is actually alright. I want to say fast, but after having tried the Eachine HS3D Mini, other mini quads seem rather slow. This one is of course larger than the HS3D Mini, but the larger model should give it more thrust. But I guess it goes down to the weight. All this plastic, I mean, it makes it look pretty awesome, but it does slow it down a bit. Don't get me wrong though, you can see that the speed is decent, but it could have been faster. Luckily we have a second speed mode that should give extra power in case we need. I must say that the yaw is kinda fast, but it feels a bit strange as it's too much yaw considering the current speed, which is not that high. But I guess some of you might like this. I mean, overall I'm satisfied with the first flying mode, but my adrenaline levels are not getting very high. Not sure if you know what I mean. If you don't contrast this mini quad with the HS Mini, 3D Mini, it will seem great. I mean, way better than the Eachine H8C that was rather gentle, not to call it weak. After a bit more flying, I went for the second flying mode by pressing the button right next to the throttle once, and yeah, it kinda started to gain some more serious speed and started to be more fun. But now we need to give some battery to show you the inverted flying, as this is the signature move of this mini quad. We'll come back to more flying and crash tests and so on in a follow-up video. Now let me show you real quick how the inverted flying is done. To do the inverted flying, you need to press the right stick downwards for a few seconds, and then you'll hear a beeping sound. Then you roll the quad to either side. Before you know, you'll be flying inverted. Once you're inverted, nothing changes, all the controls remain the same. I already expected this, as it's kind of like the same in the Eachine HS3D Mini, which is also capable of doing inverted flying. Flying inverted felt almost the same, although I noticed that sometimes when pushing too much the quad seemed to take a dive and get too close to the ground. Not sure if this is happening because the battery was already a little bit low, or because I was trying to be too aggressive with the pitch. That's why I would like to do a follow-up video covering a few of these things. Well, overall I think the Eachine H20 is a decent mini quad. I'm sure many people out there will fall in love with the looks of it, and certainly flying is enjoyable as well. However, the Eachine HS3D Mini will continue to be my favorite of the Eachine line. In my next video I'll be covering some of the flying, the 360-degree flips, as you can see I forgot to cover them this time, crash test, and I will do some range tests as well. If you find this video useful, please like it and subscribe to my channel if you're interested in getting the latest news and reviews directly from China. I hope to see you all in my next video.